What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Here's a word that I really want you to put in your spirit today. We're talking about visions. In Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2, King James Version, it said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. What are we talking about today? Visions. Now, as I talk about visions, the Word of God is telling us, write it and make it plain. And I'm telling you about my life when I sat down at my mother's table and I wrote the vision, not on tablets, but in my mind of how I want my life to be. Now I'm living my vision. People ask me all the time, man, why are you so happy? Because I'm living my dream. I have wrote it out, and I have now lived the life that I have set out to do. In doing that, though, it is amazing the dark nights. It is amazing the struggle, the moving. We're talking about vision, making it plain. Now, as I go through and I explain to you, this didn't happen overnight. This wasn't an easy process. This was staying the course. No matter what happens, no matter what roadblocks get in stay the course. Why? Because the vision of what I want my life to be required me to be stern in what I'm going to accept and what I'm not going to accept. Being vision, we're talking about to me now, I had to be hard on me. Why? You just can't sleep in the day. Why? You got a mission to do. From the first 30 years of my life, we're not talking about one day. We're not talking about 1 year. We're not even talking about 10 years. We're talking about 30 years of my life. I'm looking at the amount of money that I made. I've been making the money I made in 30 years, I've been making that money times 3 every year for the last 20, 30 years. What did I do? I changed my mindset. I knew I could not follow my parents. I had to go back to college. I knew for me to get a different mindset, I had to put more things in my mind. For me not to be a person that gambles all the time, I had to make up my mind, gambling is not going to be the road I travel. I had to decide that I'm morally perfect, morally excellent. I had to hold on to something stronger than my desires, stronger than my mind, what I saw, which was limited. That's why I hate dysfunction. Why? Because I came from a dysfunctional family. So I built something that I didn't see. We talk about vision. I watched people get drunk, and I decided I'm never going to drink. I watched people smoking, and I decided I'm not going to smoke. I watched people with drugs. My uncle, one of the biggest drug dealers in our neighborhood, and I decided I'm never going to touch drugs. What did I do? I set a vision, and now I'm living that vision. What am I saying now? I also know that being a parent, that even if you do everything right, kids are not going to agree with it. Got it. They didn't ask to come here. I'm going to give them the best I can, and what they do from that point on is all on them. I had to make up my mind. We're talking about a vision. I can't tell you about everybody else's vision, but I can tell you about mine. People tell me all the time that you're an amazing man. But what they're not knowing in my head, I was told the opposite as I was being reared. So I made up my mind, whose voice am I going to listen to, their voice or yours? I made up my mind that I'm going to listen to my voice because I know what I'm going to tell me is going to be real. I'm going to be able to look in the mirror and say, Al, today, you just didn't hit the mark. Why? But you're going to fix it tomorrow. Why? Because I can't wait to fix what I know is wrong. Anyone that is committing sin, they know it. They just choose not to stop it. I remember coming to the Lord, and I said, Lord, I'm great in these areas, but I have a problem in these couple. What was I doing? I was being real. We talk about vision, making it plain. See, most people want success of life now. Doesn't happen. It's a process. It's a process that not only requires everyday change, every choice change. It requires even every second change. I remember when my mind used to think of things that had no business thinking, and I learned the behavior says, change your mind. Why? Because if you tell your mind what to think, it can't think what it want to think. I was talking to a young man, and he was going through depression and anxiety, and I said, you know what your biggest problem is? You got too much time. Go in the backyard and dig a hole. He said, dig a hole? I said, yeah. Because, one, you got to work your physical body, your muscles, and you got to work your mind. You ain't got time to think stupid when you're doing something. That's why the Word of God says an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Why? Your mind will be filled with something. We talking about vision, make it plain. When I say that my first 30 years, I was looking at the money I made, and I made double or even sometimes triple that amount of money every year since. What was I saying? My life was orchestrated to be a disaster for me. So I made up my mind that I'm going to do everything possible to give Al, me, a chance, to give my children a chance, to let them see the framework of this vision. Hey, I can't ask nobody else to help me. A psychiatrist ain't going to help me. Nobody's going to do the work for me. I got to do the work. So even now, I hate walking into my job and papers on the ground. Even though they paid people to pick it up, I pick it up. Why? It need to be done. Not for nobody else, for me. Because I can make a change. I was holding the door open for a guy the other day, and he was so amazed that somebody opened the door for him. He don't know my prayer. He didn't know my vision. My goal is if I can do one kind act a day, one, I'm already ahead of most people. But if I can do multiples, I'm ahead of the average. If I can do constantly, like I told me and my wife had a little conversation many years ago, it's about outdoing the other. I try to bless her socks off, and I try to win every day. It doesn't matter. What do you need me to do? Okay, if I got to run back up the stairs and get something, I'm going to do it. Why? Because she's doing the same thing. So we're so constantly doing to help and bless each other that nobody's lacking. Why? Because this life is about the other person, not about you. See, when you get that concept of understanding, treat others like you want to be treated, it takes away stupidity. It takes away selfishness. It even takes away the desire to want to hurt people. Why would I want to hurt you? That makes no sense. We're talking about vision, make it plain. For many years, I am now talking to you about things that took years to build. I was selfish. It didn't matter. I had an attitude problem. It is what it is. I know it. I was not asking nobody if this was the case. I know it was. When you can look in the mirror and say to yourself, you suck. You got a bad attitude, and you're really no good. Now, what do you do with it? That's just information. I looked at life as it really was. Now, let's make a change. Not in one day, not in 1 year, not even in 10 years. It's still an ongoing process. Why? Because if you are impressed with me now, with the word of God and the knowledge I have and the fruit of the Spirit that I'm walking in, we talk about love, peace, and joy. We talk about long suffering. We talk about control your temper, goodness, godliness, faith. Can you imagine if I'm here now, where I'm going to be in 1 year? Where I'm going to be in 5 more years if the Lord gives it to me? Where am I going to be in 10 more years if the Lord gives it? Where am I going to be in 20 more years if the Lord gives it to me? When I didn't have a window or a pot to throw out of a window, I had a vision. Now I'm living that vision. That is the word of God. He said, hey, not only do you have to have a vision, you got to make it plain. He said, write it down. Why? Because when all this drive you had goes away, you better stand on something you can stand on. And that drive now is my willing to be a better me. Not that I'm perfect, but Jesus is the mark. He says, I'm perfect. Set your mark on me. Walk after the kingdom. Seek it and follow that vision. That is the word for today. Hey, if you want a great life, you can do it. But I promise you, that word of God is the only thing that will take you to this place. That is his word.